1,000 babies are born per year with NAS. NAS stands for neonatal abstinence syndrome and is when they are addicted to drugs that their mother took, whether it's prescription or illegal. My name is Camryn, and ever since I was a young kid, I enjoyed hugs and babies. So I wanted to put them together to make my project. And I wanted to figure out how touch affects babies born with addictions. I found a quote from Kangaroo Care, and it's, "The first days of a child's life are some of the most important, not just for the infant, but for the mother as well. This is a time when much of the most important bonding happens, and each individual becomes accustomed to the new reality of their world. Sadly, for some, there is an added difficulty that makes navigating this time even harder: drug dependency." When I was thinking of interviewing someone, I couldn't decide who to interview because I know a NICU nurse and a foster mom, and I didn't know which side of the system I wanted to hear from. I ended up going with the foster mom because she gets more of the personal side. So I interviewed a foster mom named Brittany, and she has cared for 4 different NAS babies. She mostly shared symptoms and different stories of her experiences. Some symptoms of NAS babies include tremors, seizures, fussiness, excessive crying, sensitivity to light, fever, sweating, low birth weight, jaundice, developmental delays, and later on down the road they experience speech issues, behavior and learning disabilities, and health issues. She shared a story about how one of her babies that she cared for, baby C, could only eat in a dark, quiet room because it was just traumatic for her if it was a loud and bright room. And she also shared how the NAS babies did not trust anyone, and it was really hard to bond with them. I learned a lot from Brittany, and I got to hear about the hardships that babies go through. Like, baby C was on oxygen up till 1 year, and so they had to have oxygen brought into their home so they could care for her. Unfortunately, I was not able to volunteer in the NICU because of COVID and age restrictions, and so instead I worked with just children and infants outside of a hospital, and I wanted to see how their emotions were based off of physical touch. I noticed that whenever I'd just be sitting there, they would always come up to ask to sit on my lap or read a book together. And anytime they would get upset, they would come up to me and want a hug or any way to comfort them. And if we were watching a movie or playing or reading a book, they would always ask to sit on my lap or sit next to me and snuggle up to me. And then I also came across this kid who had a double ear infection but had not gotten medicine yet, so he was in a lot of pain. And so he was screaming and crying, and then when he was sitting on my lap, that was the only thing that would help him for the hour until his mom could pick him up. So physical touch really helped him with that because he felt comforted. While I was researching, I kept coming across this term called Kangaroo Care. And Kangaroo Care is that picture of the woman holding the baby against her chest. It is when a caregiver or mother or nurse is skin to skin with the baby that is just wearing a diaper, so that it's skin to skin. Kangaroo Care provides many benefits, such as stronger heart functioning of the baby, improved breathing and respiratory function, faster weight gain, decreased crying, bonding with the parent or caregiver, and it actually cuts down the recovery time from an average of 22 days in the hospital down to 6. Since they're in the hospital for a very long time, having an NAS baby is very hard and expensive, and a typical average stay costs over $65,000. If they're not given Kangaroo Care, which is a newer thing, they end up being put on machines to regulate, and they're given morphine and then slowly lowered as they get better. This project has helped me prepare for my future because I want to be a midwife, and so I want to deliver babies. And if I ever come across this, it will really help me and know that kangaroo care can really benefit. Thank you for coming. Does anyone have any questions? Maddie?
What's your favorite age group to work with?
Babies to 3 years old. Courtney.
How do babies get NAS and how do they end up with that?
When the mother is on some type of substance, whether it's like prescriptions or other drugs. Zach. Yeah. Her name is Maisie.
Thank you, Camryn.